Greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel dedicated to smartwatches at smartwatchticks.com. And unless you're brand new to this channel, you probably know that there's a wave of new smartwatches that have come out that use two processors inside of them and give an always-on kind of a standby mode, bracelet mode illumination. Well, what we're about to reveal in this box is a new member of the club. Before, we had the Lympho LEM9, the Z-Blaze Thor 5, the Optimus Pro from Cosbet, and now Makibes is presenting us with the M3. Let's talk about it. Comes to us from Geekbuying. Really thank you, Geekbuying, for sending this. I've been working for about 2 months to get a hold of this, and it's been withheld and withdrawn and put back in and then not available, but finally we have it for you. Unfortunately, it missed the wave of all the comparison reviews that we did of all the previous ones that support this dual processor capability, but we're going to show this to you right now, and as I can do some of the comparisons in the background, I'll list the information I get in the show notes down below. By the way, the buying link from Geekbuying will be in the show notes as well. And look at the price. It's already really good. If I can get a discount off of that one for you, I will. So use our link if you can. That's going to help us out over here. It's a 4G smartwatch, Android 7.1.1. It's got the same processors and everything. Here's the big difference. It's got 2 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigabytes of ROM. Now, if you remember the Optimus Pro, and you're going to see this looks identical to the Optimus Pro, it comes with 3 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of ROM and a lot higher price. So this is giving you an option at a lower memory configuration, same as the Optimus itself, which is a little lower than the Optimus Pro. So 2 gigabytes and 16 gigabytes of memory, which may end up letting the battery last a little longer. Don't know. Those are kind of tests that need to be done. What's it got in it? You see it all here. The wireless connectivity, the frequency bands, all of this stuff is the same across the board in all of these watches, Android 7.1.1 watches. So I'm just going to show it on the screen. You can freeze frame it if you want to read it, or head on over to the link, because that's where I printed this out from. You're looking at a beefy 800 milliamp hour battery that they say gives you talk time of 3 hours, standby time of 4 days in the 4G mode, 5 days in the bracelet mode. Wow, awesome. Okay, and the basic standby time is 3 to 5 days. More information. The app is going to be the YWatch 2 actually app that they all use. So no differences there. Let's open it up and take a look. Because we've done such extensive reviews on all of these watches already, I'm going to bounce around and highlight some things about this one. And if you want the full beginning to end review, if you really are brand new to the channel, then I invite you to take a look at the Optimus Pro review, the Cosbet Optimus Pro, because it's going to be pretty much identically the same as this watch here, even down to the buttons and the camera and the screen. Wow, look at that. Look at that bezel on this one. That's brilliant. It's almost like diamond flashes on it. Really nice. This is not a screen protector per se for the glass. It's just a cover. We take that thing off. Take a look at it. We've got the same band with a little hook thing that goes in there. All looks familiar, right? The back? Oh, the back is different. Okay, here's one change. Check the other ones out. This has got a big flat plate with a screw on it, and your heart rate diode information is right here. The others, I think, have a little lift-up plastic snap. So this may actually provide better waterproofing capability, water resistance anyway. Screws holding the whole back in. Yeah, flexible bands, removable bands, just like the Optimus line. Nice. Okay. Inside the box itself, along with it now, come 2 boxes and a manual. In this one, we have a screwdriver for getting into the back cover where the SIM card goes. It's a nano SIM, by the way. And it's a connector, I presume, into a dock, which is probably in this box, right? Silica gel. Okay, whoa, it's way up in there. Whoa! You know what? It's at this end. I gotta push it all out. There we go. That looks familiar to the other band for the Optimus Pro. The 4 pins there. The watch itself is going to just line up with it. It's going to be magnetic. Pretty strong, holds well. And then you're just going to plug this in here. You want to try to use the wire that comes with your watch. If you have a variety of these, some of them are a little bit different. Some only provide power and no data. And if you want to load up data from your computer, you know, you're going to be probably doing it through there. So keep a hold of that wire that comes with the specific watch. Okay, that's all of this. Last thing is the user manual. And as we always do, version 1.0, we'll page through it. Now, there's no mention of what watch this is, so take a look and compare. This might be the same manual that we've seen on some of the other watches. Oftentimes, they'll just toss the same manual in unless the pictures are specific to that particular company or watch. A lot of times, a difference on otherwise similar watches is the watch faces that they install. Some of the companies create their own custom faces with their own name on them. And when you boot up the watch, you have your choice of those watch faces and a few others that are usually stock for all of the different watch faces or watch companies that produce that same line of watches. Okay, very much a text-oriented book. That's all the English part. Chinese is on this side. Now we'll charge it up and turn it on. Okay, we are charged up, ready to go, but before I turn it on, I wanted to bring over the Optimus Pro to show you that basically they are the same design. Now, I have a different band on this one, but the back, the cases are the same with the one screw that holds them on. So 3 gigabytes, 32 gigabytes here, 2 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes here. There's the old bands there, basically identical that was on this one. And we'll just see what the differences are. Pressing the top button, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This comes up with its name, Cospet. This is the generic balloon on here on the M3. They don't have a Makibes logo to start it out with on this one. Both really bright. As you can see, the camera kind of dimmed down to accommodate for the brightness in the watch. The lower memory started faster, which makes sense. Less RAM to check for integrity before it begins. And they're booting up. Now, this one's already on Wi-Fi, and I've used it quite a bit. This one is starting off right from the get-go. So you get to see quickly what the different languages are. Goes all the way up to here. I'll just leave this one alone for a moment and work our way through here. When you first get your watch, and I think we showed you this on a few of them, you'll have this option. It's always set for English United States, at least here in the United States where this one was mailed to. If you're lucky, maybe your watch is set for your country ahead of time. If not, you get to pick your country right from the list right here. And there's a lot of them, a whole lot of them. And I believe this is all an Android 7.1.1 experience. So all of these languages should be available on all of these different dual processor watches, not just the M3. Then you put in your weight and all this kind of stuff for the fitness, and then you hit confirm. Now this is where you do the QR code, scanning it to install the app, and you'll open Bluetooth and then click on the button to get into it. And this is the QR code the app, YWatch 2, wants you to actually scan in order to pair. And we showed you that in a specialized video on using the YWatch 2 app. So there we go. We have booted up into the first watch screen, which looks alarmingly like this one, doesn't it? Okay. Now, again, we are not yet on Wi-Fi here. I'm going to turn this down quite a bit. Wow, okay, the differences between the brightnesses are really intense. Let's turn that one down all the way. Okay, that little bit easier on the eye. So what differences may be here would be in the watch faces, but so far they look the same. Here is Cospet, and here is something different for Makibes. So they kept those first couple of them. Come here, you. I need to get in. This is why I like that app display brightness that I'm always raving about. I have just limited control. Actually, somebody showed me something which is really cool. Check this out. If I go down here on both of these, if I press and hold on the brightness, I bring up a slider and I can actually adjust it just right. So it's just the right brightness. Okay, press and hold. This should work on your watch if you have an Android watch. Try that. There. Now, they're a little bit better, you think? Okay, let's bail out of here. How do we get out of it? Did I just mess it all up? I think I did. All right, down a little bit. I guess hit the button. There. So, okay, we've got Cospet watch faces galore here. They all have the name. You see them there? And then it gets to this blue one. And then we get in here to there. And a few more. And again, now these are custom watch faces that I've put in here. These are Alrods, I believe, that are on here. I could put them in here as well, but I haven't. If you're on the internet, you can hit the plus button and hit the server and get a whole bunch of other watch faces. And that little button you hit there resets everything so it goes back to the beginning counter, if you will. So I want to put it on this watch face because I wanted you to see the band on the Optimus Pro here with brown leather. This was a custom band that they sent out. I think they have it on their watch face, but again, this isn't an Optimus review. This is an M3 review. So we're going to take a look at this one here. And one of the first things I want to do, because the screen time's out so quickly, that looks nice against the black, doesn't it? Is go over to settings. It's always a good idea to get into your settings and extend your screen life if you're going to be messing around with it. Sleep it up to 30 minutes. Why not for right now? Now, notice we have the always time feature and the notification brightness screen. And we do want to turn that on. It's already on and active on this one. I want to compare. How bright is it when it goes dim? There they are. Sorry about the background reflections. They're about the same level of brightness. Now, that does not change depending on what brightness your main screen is. This one seems to be quite a bit brighter right now. Let's go and do that adjustment down even further. Try to get them a little closer to equal. And when you turn them off, they flash and then they go into that ambient mode, which is relatively dim, but it's nonetheless there. So, a couple of the other things we always want to check is when you go into the, oh God, there he goes again, right? You go in here, we're checking to see if we are on GPS or not. Do you know the answer? You should already by that. Does it support GPS integration with fitness? And the answer is no. And the way we tell that is this isn't flashing and a lot of other things. But the easiest one is to go over here. If that says finish instead of long press, then you're using the old version of the fitness app. So unfortunately, we do not have an update on the new M3, just like we don't have it on the Optimus Pro either. The other thing we look at was camera. I know I'm skipping around, but like I said, if you want to see the review of all of these apps and stuff, watch the one on the Optimus Pro. That's going to give you everything you need in order and all of that. When we get into the camera, yeah, I got my new ring on. I am really going to tell you about that. I'm collecting such incredible data from that ring. It's awesome. Once I get done with all of the smartwatches, we go into details. You see it's a 2448 by 3264, meaning it's an 8 megapixel picture. It's a 5 megapixel camera, and they up interpolate it to 8 megapixel. It's the same on here. I don't need to bother to show you. That's in the other review. We did want to know, though, what happens when we zoom. 1, 2, and back again. It's a little fuzzy. I moved when I took the picture, so apologies for that. But we want to see if we have pinch and zoom, and we do, just like we do on this one. So all of the camera features are the same as well. We really haven't found any differences except a couple of extra watch faces here that aren't on there that have the name Cospet on it. Where we might see a difference is in the long standby, which is the second app on the screen here, and I believe they've rearranged the apps here to put it that way as well. Or you press and hold the button on the side, and whoa, there's a difference. You don't have the access with the button on the side to get into this feature. You actually have to hit long standby. Now, there may be a firmware update for this. If there is, I will mention that in the show notes and give you the numbers and information. We'll check it in just, well, we better check it now because I got to reboot otherwise. Let's go into settings. Let's go down to about, and let's look at the build number on both of these. So once we go into that long standby, the only thing we can do to get out of it is reboot the watch, right? Which is kind of a pain. Settings. And about. And where we go. Okay, can you guys read that? They're different dates. All right. Those are the dates that are active on them right now, so check yours. And we're going to check and see if that build number is what we're looking at is higher or not. And we're running 4.4.22 on both of them, it looks like there. Okay, so we're going to go into long standby, but not this way. We have to go on this one in from here and hit the check mark. Oh, I didn't hit the symbol up at the top. That symbol is where we can specify whether we want it to have, oh, it just vibrated, whether we want it to have the always time switch on or off. It's normally off, I believe. I'm just going to hit the check mark there, just so we can see what they look like. That toggle will just make it so that it goes off and then you have to twist it to see it, or it'll make it so that it stays always on. I guess it was always on. We're waiting for this one to come up so we can see how they match. Same fonts, same colors, same everything. What do we got? Come on, where are you? There you go. Oh, by the way, you guys notice it's all in 24-hour time? Okay, this one is in the off mode, yeah. It's going to be 15:17, which is more the time. This is the time that it just happens to have because I haven't synced it yet. When you press the button once, you get your step count stuff. Once again, you get your heart rate monitor stuff. We cover the little green diodes, and last thing we'll do is compare to see how these heart rate systems turn out. Now, once again, on all of these standalone smartwatch phones with the dual processor in them doing this bracelet mode stuff, they've been going through dynamic shifts, and there may be firmware updates coming for all of them. Some of them, they may see some changes over time. Okay, right now the Cospet has kicked in a little faster than the M3, but it's coming in, and with one heart and two fingers on either side, I'm tracking pretty close, being that I'm talking and vibrating, so that's looking good. This is one of the few good features I find of the bracelet mode, is this always continuous heart monitoring situation. When you have it on, it's always going to be on. The screen will stay on. It's never going to go off. You can't even turn it off. You have to boot out of this, back into time to get it to shut off. So you're going to have continuous heart rate monitoring with the watch. Very easy to do, and it's true on all of them, as long as it's a dual processor smartwatch with the bracelet mode. And being that this is the M3 review, I'm going to put the M3 back on to give you the total look of this thing. It's a little bit on the thick side, but nonetheless, it's a nice, attractive watch. It's not too big. It's got a really sweet bezel, and it does all things Android, just like all the other ones do. But it's cheaper. Because it only has the 2 gigabytes RAM and 16 gigabytes of storage, you can pick it up for about $140 or less if I can get you a coupon. And of course, from Geekbuying. They're the Makibes outlet. You really don't see these anywhere else through a main outlet than Geekbuying. So definitely check the link down below and use it if you want to buy it, because that'll help them out and help us out here at Smartwatch Ticks, which you've been watching. We'll see you again soon.